Going into Saturday's game against Colgate, February 24th, 1962 was the last time Colgate had beaten the Orange. Coming out of that very same game, February 24th, 1962 was still the last time Colgate had beaten the Orange. Not a big surprise there. We'll give you the good and the bad of that game. The 8-0 Georgetown Hoyas host their first real challenge against the Syracuse Orange this coming Saturday. We'll preview that game for you. Let's go.
Make some noise, Orange fans. It's time for the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to episode 43 of the Cuse Nation podcast. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, and YouTube. So once again, I am Sean alongside my good buddy Joe. Joe, wasabi, buddy.
Wasabi.
Oh, nothing. Starting to get cold out here in Virginia Beach, buddy.
Yeah, down here too.
I don't think we broke like 30 degrees today. It's lovely.
Yeah, nice little wind.
Yeah, we are a little windy too.
Yep.
So we are going to give you Colgate. We're going to give you Georgetown. Joe's got a little recruiting news for football that we will go over once we're done with that. And I lost all hearing in my left earphone, and I don't know why. Anyway, all right. So Syracuse, our Colgate at Syracuse, okay, and it's still the same problems. 14 threes they scored on us. 14. 40%. 40%. The Orange is the worst three-point shooting team in the country. 28.5%. One of the worst. That's 31st out of 351 Division I teams. On the flip side, though, the good, I guess, while not being able to defend the three and not being able to make the threes, Syracuse are rebounding a whole lot better. The Orange is second best in offensive rebounding in the country, grabbing 41.6%. And also, in that rebounding and forcing turnovers, Syracuse ends up with about 8 more possessions per game than its opponents so far this year, which is awesome. They give up a lot of threes. They're stingy inside the arc. SU is allowing opponents a field goal percentage of only 41.6%. That's 13th in Division I. And the Orange comes up with a steal on 13.9% of opponents' possessions. So, I don't know, dude. It's good right now, and it's good that we have this. I wouldn't call it cushy, but we have this little bit of pad before conference play to kind of fix some of these things. But what is the key going forward as far as are they going to be able to rely on offensive boards and rebounds and even some of the turnovers to get them through games with on both sides of the three ball just being they suck. They really suck, both sides of that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, I think that we're good enough on all those other stats that you named to be able to make up for the bad.
You think you can make up?
Well, I mean, right now we are.
I'm saying going
against better
forward.
teams.
Yeah.
Then okay. I mean, obviously we have to shore that up, and even using Kansas as an example. One guy went off, and usually if a guy does something like that, especially with this team and kind of the offensive problems that we have, then it's going to be difficult to beat real good teams like that. But as far as mediocre to average teams and teams with around about our talent, then I think that those stats, like you said, will be able to keep us in games and give us chances to win. So, but to get to where we want to be, obviously those stats need to change. So I'm still all for just pushing out the 2-3 zone a little bit more.
Keeping it a little more loose.
Yeah.
Not
well, and you have to, and again, I think a lot of it has to do with experience and the younger players and just being able to play with your teammates, and also as the season goes on, being able to find the shooters, whether it's on fast breaks, whether sometimes you got to know that you got to maybe not attack and run out on a 3-point shooter if you know somebody down in the baseline is going to be wide open, if that guy's a better shooter, you kind of got to stay with the shooters, find the guys and let the not so good shooters shoot those threes or not shoot those threes, because a lot of times they don't. So I think they just need to do better at that, and I think it's a lot of it is going to get fixed with just more time and more experience playing with each other and playing in D1 basketball, playing against better competition. So
our opponents are taking advantage of this. So
yeah, well, of course,
the Syracuse opponents are taking a ton of 3-pointers. They are taking 49.2% of their shots are 3-pointers, according to your boy KP. Only one other Division I team in the nation has more 3-pointers taken against them. And it's just when you see it on tape, and you don't even need to look at tape. You just know now that how do you expose Syracuse? You take a ton of 3-pointers. And if you can get hot, what's his name? Graham from Kansas.
Graham, yep.
And Colgate got hot too, hitting 14. So it's going to have to be something that they're going to need to make an adjustment out at the arc. They're going to have to not collapse so easy. And we've said these things. I know it's a whole lot easier to say than it is to do, but it needs to be fixed before conference play. It's got to get fixed.
Well, and also
it's got to get better. It's got to get better. I just wanted to see it get better. It doesn't even have to get fixed totally.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that they're not going to be an all-time 3-point shooting team or an offensive team. But if you can shore it up on defense, that sure would help. Boeheim's always said it. He wants to dare teams to shoot the three, live and die by the three. You can pull some great upsets against some good teams. Not every good team is a good 3-point shooting team. You know what I mean? Duke really isn't a good 3-point shooting team, but they're tall, they're lengthy, they kind of do the same thing that we do, obviously minus 2-3 zone all the time, but that's the way I look at it, is you can be a bad team but still have good 3-point shooters to keep it close, like a Colgate.
Yeah.
What were they, 3 and 5? If you move the ball around and you have the patience, we didn't necessarily play great on offense in the first half.
No,
and then they got within 6, I believe, in the second half. So we still won by 14. So, but again, Colgate's not going to be the everyday opponent when it comes to ACC play. So, again, like you said, it's got to get better. But also, you can get great wins by lulling teams into shooting threes, and if they're not hitting them, then it's good for us. So
O'Shea Brissett continues to impress. He led the team pretty much through that game, I think. Scoring 20 points, 7 for 12. He also grabbed a huge rebound with just a few minutes left as Colgate tried to close that gap. Tyus Battle again, obviously, 24 points. He scored 15 of them in the first half. So, and when he pulls those mid-range jumpers too, and he's in that zone, and they don't always look. You're always kind of on the edge of your seat about the shot, but then it goes. Yeah, that's just the kind of shooter he is, which is impressive.
Yeah.
So other than that,
Well, I think what you said moving forward, and then this isn't really about Colgate as much as it is just a team, but you have to kind of use the statistics that you laid out there to your advantage. I read somewhere this week that Syracuse is the tallest team as far as average height that plays and as far as minutes goes in the country.
Yeah, in the nation, yep.
Right. So, what's our weaknesses? Our weakness is guarding the three. But what is our strengths? Our strengths is rebounding. Inside. Our strengths is our length. So we have to spread that out a little bit more, take away the threes. And as far as offense goes, you watch Battle, Howard, O'Shea Brissett, those guys can take it to the hoop. They can, like we talked about with Kansas, I felt this team cannot settle for jump shots. This team has to attack, has to go to the hole. O'Shea Brissett, that's where he needs to be. He's not a great three-point shooter right now in his career, and that's where we need to go. We need to attack the basket, and if we're not shooting threes at a good percentage, then why are we taking them?
And I don't have the stat in front of me for overall for the season. My bad for even mentioning it. But as you say that, I'm just thinking, you go in there, drive, and draw the foul if you can.
Draw the foul, get to the lane, be aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Because when you do that, then you get players in foul trouble, and it forces
like they've done to
teams
us.
to back off a little bit,
Yeah.
So When it comes down to it, we need to use our strengths to our advantage to help what our weaknesses are. And right now, I think that just our team's just learning to do that.
If we can
we're young again. We're young.
Yeah.
Where it's not like a team like last year where we had guys we knew were going to be taking the shots, and you had the seniors come in. It's completely different. So,
I mean, if we can guard the three, let's start by guarding the three and being a little bit better on defense against the three, and we'll worry about shooting it after because, like you said, the bread and butter's in the lane right now, and it's just when they get going with that and they press and they play up tempo, they're really doing a good job. I mean, that's their strong suit so far in offense this year.
Yeah. Well, and again, but you said though too. I mean, we are up there in offensive rebounds. So as much as when you look at the 3-point stat as far as our shooting and everything. I mean, you read it. We offensive rebound 41% of missed shots. So that's kind of a skewed little. Just because we missed a three doesn't mean that we didn't score. It doesn't mean that we didn't get a second chance opportunity. So again, that could be a skewed stat that might look like it hurts us a little bit more than it does. But because of our offensive rebounding, because of our steals and the fast break points off turnovers, those kind of things, it can be hidden. You can get by with that kind of percentage when you're doing those kind of things on the side.
Yeah.
But as far as on defense is giving up that percentage, that's something that's got to be fixed without a doubt.
All those stats are a little bit skewed, I think, just because of some of it's the competition.
Competition, absolutely.
Some of it's just early in the year, but as of right now, that's a fact. Those are facts. A steal every 14 possessions. I mean, that's pretty decent. So, and they're lengthy, and they were getting in there when they first started playing UConn. I thought that was going to be a blowout because they were just so disruptive, and with their arms and everything, and just
it takes a little while for teams to get used to it.
You're right. They got to just develop their chemistry.
Right.
So, all right,
and that's why I say we got to just come out on offense and start just being aggressive. Just try to get people with some fouls. Try to get early points, even if it's from the charity stripe. Come out aggressive because you know that those first 8 to 10 minutes, that's going to be the team feeling you out and feeling your defense out and trying to figure out how to score.
Exactly.
So I see a lot of games this year, unless a 3-point shooter comes out hot early, I see a lot of games where we can take advantage of, getting a lead while the team's trying to figure us out and us being aggressive and just getting points on the board. And that's, again, something that we've struggled with in the beginning of the season, especially against, lowly opponents. So,
like we said, what is it? February 24th, 1962. We have not been beaten by Colgate since then. Joe, give me your grade for the Orange against Colgate. In the end, it was 14-point win. I'm happy with that. It closed up. I wasn't happy about that. It was a slow start. I especially wasn't happy about that, but I was totally expecting it because that's how we play. So give me your grade for that game.
C.
Yeah, you're a little bit nicer than, or I'm a little bit nicer than you. I was thinking maybe B-, but yeah, I mean, just didn't control that game. That's a game they just got to control from start to finish and just put it away early.
Yeah, they controlled it in points, but when you play teams like that, you can't mess around. You got the height advantage. Go to your strengths.
Totally.
Get the lead, take it over, get those walk-ons in there at the end of the game, and get out of there.
Exactly. So, let's see. At 8-1, we've already started receiving votes for the AP and the USA Today coaches poll. 2 in the AP, 10 in the US Today coaches poll. So if we can continue to win non-conference, it's possible to be ranked before ACC play. I believe that's a complete possibility if we keep doing what we're doing. If we are, Joe, if we're ranked before ACC play, do we get prepared for the Syracuse isn't that good. They haven't even played anybody yet. They've barely left the dome, blah blah blah. The same old chants from the same old people. What do you think?
There's always going to be haters and trolls out there, so there's going to be people saying that. It's way too early. So I don't even know why Joe Lenardi does bracketology and the rankings now.
Just really
the rankings. Yeah. He's got us as one of the last 4 in or something like that. So, but I mean, it's ridiculous to even look at that kind of stuff. People that say it, I mean, they can say it. It's not going to get me all up in arms because it's way too early.
No,
anything
but there's so many
can
Syracuse
happen.
haters.
You know what I mean? I'm not really worried about it. The rankings go as basically teams win and lose. So
exactly.
Not really too worried about it. And look at Georgetown; they're undefeated. So
Georgetown has not played anybody either.
No, nobody. According to Ken Pomeroy, they've played the easiest non-conference schedule in Division I basketball. 351 out of 351.
Which is exactly what I was thinking. But it was a great segue into this, Joe. We're going to DC to play the Hoyas. They do have one guy, and his name escapes me because you're the pro at this, and that's why I hand this to you right now. So tell me, Joe, about Georgetown. What do we got to look for? What do we got to do? And can we win?
Georgetown, actually, all time we lead the series 49-43, but Georgetown's on a 2-game winning streak of beating us the last 2 games, or last 2 years, I should say. John Thompson III got fired last year, and actually their head coach now is Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
So, it's his first year. And another little fact, a little tidbit to throw out there, Syracuse, the former Syracuse basketball player, Louis Orr, and he used to coach Seton Hall. He is actually the assistant coach for Georgetown as well. But after John Thompson III got fired, they lost 3 players to graduation, a player to a transfer to SMU, a guy went to the draft, and another guy got released from the program. So they had a lot of turnaround, but their strengths are they have some size. Jesse Govan, I believe, the center, 6'10" junior, he's averaging 21 and 13. That's been their guy pretty much all year. Most of the games he's led in scoring. They also have a forward, Marcus Derrickson, 6'7" junior, who's averaging 13.5 points, 7 rebounds. Their other forward who starts is a freshman, 6'7", Jamarco Pickett. And then they have the 2 guards. One's a senior, leads the team in assists, point guard, Jonathan Mulmore. And the other guard is 6'6" junior, Caleb Johnson, who averages 12.5 points. And they only really have 2 guys that come off the bench, a freshman and a sophomore, 6'3" guards, Blair and Mosley. But they really only go 7 deep. But with their height, they could pose some problems. And I know that Patrick Ewing was a big man coach in the NBA. And obviously he was a center, played for Georgetown, all that. Anybody who's an SU fan knows who he is. So Govan, the center, he only averaged 10 points last year. He's up to 21. So I can only assume that's kind of has a lot to do with it. So, but again, we don't really know what we're going to see. They did lose some good players that otherwise would have been there. That would have been some of their better players. And like you said, though, because of their schedule, you really don't know how good they are. So I know they're undefeated. They've played 7 out of their 8 games have been home against pretty much nobodies. And then they had a road game against Richmond, who was their closest game. I think they won by 6 or 8. So don't really know what to expect. But
it's a quick trip. It's just a quick trip, though. DC to Richmond.
Yeah, right down 95. Yeah, not a problem. But still, nonetheless, it was a road game.
I mean, the Richmond Spiders.
The Richmond Spiders.
Come on.
So I don't know. I mean, they're tall. Their big man's good, but at the same time, he's not just posting up man-to-man against another center. He's got a zone and people around him. And
how are they? Yeah. How are they behind the arc? Joe, that's what we need to know, I think.
Around the arc, they have some guys that can go off.
Really?
Caleb Johnson can shoot some threes. Even their big guys can shoot a little bit. There's a couple guys that got some green lights, like Govan. I know that he can shoot. I don't think he shoots a lot, but yeah, they got some guys, man, that can definitely shoot. And it's Syracuse, so usually it's that one, unknown guy that only plays 16 minutes that only averages 4 points a game that's going to hit 6 threes against us.
He's the plant. It's the plant.
So game. I don't know. You can only imagine that they're going to go ahead and try to use our weakness against us, which is, guarding the 3-pointers. But
everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. You can't.
Right.
You have to expect they're going to try. The only
Right.
thing you can do is disrupt them early and make them.
Right.
Try to shoot from inside or down the lane or something. So, all right.
Well, I mean, from what I've read, I don't know 100% what their 3-point percentage is for the season. From what I've read, it could be better. There's a couple guys that they expected more out of, but there's a big turnaround, like I said, with the coaching change that usually happens. But also, all the teams that they've played, those teams don't play 2-3 zone like we do, and they don't have the height that we do. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with the worst non-conference schedule or the easiest non-conference schedule as up to date, I'm really not concerned with what their percentage is because they really played nobody even comparable to us. So as far as defensively and height-wise. So we're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a big game of unknowns, but obviously a lot of history with the players and the coaches and stuff like that. So
yeah, old rival. And, of course, if you've been a Syracuse fan for more than 5 minutes, you hate Georgetown. So,
yes,
right,
sir.
Well, let's just go through. And one of my good buddies is a Georgetown fan. So, and I'm a Raiders fan, and he's a Chargers fan. We're like buddies, but arch nemesis too. So that's always fun. We used to go out for that game, but
drunken fist fights.
Yeah, but then they switched to the ACC. We haven't really done that much.
Good.
So yeah, no kidding. So all right, let's take a look at the power rankings for the ACC as they have them listed on Syracuse.com, and we're just going to breeze through these. We'll do this more once conference play starts or it's coming closer. Yeah, once it matters. But they got Pitt at 15, Georgia Tech at 14, Wake Forest at 13, Boston College at 12. Boston College just beat Duke, by the way. And this is after that game. North Carolina State at 11, Clemson at 10, Syracuse at 9, inside the top 10, Louisville at 8, without Pitino, Florida State at 7, 6 is Virginia Tech, 5, UVA, 4, Notre Dame, North Carolina at 3, Miami at 2, the Hurricanes, and, of course, Duke at the top slot in first place. So, that St. Francis game, 124, they scored 124 points.
Who?
Duke.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that, but
124 to 67.
Yeah, St. Francis, he was a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
When they only play against one player.
Points. I don't care who you're playing. That's a lot of points.
It's Duke's 5 versus one guy, St. Francis. I know he was a Saint, but come on.
Hey, but
basketball wasn't even invented yet.
I know, right? Well, dude, how about that? I know you were late getting to it, but you got to watch the end, right? The Boston College Duke game.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, because that was a really.
I was
good
busy.
game.
I got to see the end of the first half. I didn't get to see the second half. So
okay, that was a really good game, man.
I'm not really going to say nothing because we lost to them last year too. So
oh yeah, without a doubt. But that's an early loss, first conference game.
No, and that's an early conference game too because most likely there's not going to be too many conference games going on for another month. So I mean, currently, if you look at the conference standings, Duke's in last place, and it's going to be like that for like the next month. But obviously, like we said, it doesn't matter. I mean,
no,
you
it
have
doesn't matter.
Miami at 2. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Miami's a good team, but number 2 right now, everything gets rated as their schedule goes. I haven't looked at Miami's schedule, but I know they're undefeated. So,
yep.
I don't know. As we go on,
there's
like I said,
4 undefeated teams left in D1.
Right. Because right now the rankings and the standings and all that kind of stuff bases itself on non-conference play, but only until it comes down to resume time for NCAA does your non-conference really matter when it comes down to it.
Yeah, no. Not if you play it right. So, all right, that's it for basketball. Joe?
Yes, sir. You got
some recruiting news for football though. So give it to us.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's been a big week, really. From last Friday till now, we've gotten 4 commits. One of them, Andre Sisco. He is the number 73 safety in the class, a 3-star defensive back. He announced on Friday, And then Trey Ellison, 3-star linebacker, he flipped his commitment from SMU to Syracuse. I believe it was on Saturday, and I think the same day, a junior college. He was the number 32 junior college rank. Like junior college, they do rankings based upon all of the positions, and he's the number 32 junior college player this year, and he's a linebacker, 6'2", 240. So he's got the size, and it seems like he's ready to go. And then we actually got a lineman, Carlos Vettorello, another 3-star lineman that signed as well. So we have 4 guys. Brings our recruiting class up to 18 recruits, and it actually brought on 247 Sports their composite rating. We actually have the number 37 recruiting class in the nation for next year, for 2018. So that's the best that we've been. That's the highest we've been ranked since we joined the ACC, and probably since around, I want to say, 2001. So
that's awesome.
And yeah, and also and a couple transfers to announce. And a lot of these are the graduate seniors and some guys that are just kind of like leftovers from Schaefer, and they just know that they really don't fit in the system and they're just not going to get any playing time. But defensive backs, Davon Ellison, Jawan Dowles, and Cordell Hudson all plan to transfer. And then D tackle Caden Samuels is also transferring. So that opens up some recruiting or some scholarships for our recruiting class next year. And I think with 18 recruits now, I think we have 4 more available, give or take 1 or 2. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. I'm sure he's got the priority recruits, and I know the early signing period. There's an early signing period. It's like 4 days long in December, so it's going to be interesting to see who signs and gets it out of the way, and what happens until signing day back up to February 4th. So
yeah, I mean, I was excited for next. I mean, not that I'm rushing it because we got all summer, but I was excited for next year's football team and just to see, because Dungy's a senior and
right,
those types of warriors. I don't know how else to describe
he's a warrior. He's definitely, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be starting next year.
Yeah, they don't come around very often.
No, and he might not be an NFL quarterback, but he's a hell of a college quarterback. So
yeah. Speaking of, I don't know. Should I mention it? Nah. I posted it. I posted it. It's at CuseNationPodcast.com.
We'll just keep it at allegedly and wait till we get a little bit more information. How about that? Let's not be like the media and just jump to an allegation.
Gosh. You'll see what I'm talking about if you go to the podcast.
Facebook page. But hey, also though,
I would never have gotten into that. Just for the record,
I know I said SU quarterback, and that was it. I know, I get it. But there's a video on Twitter, and they had a video. It was Tommy DeVito. They had something set up, and it was like there's a trash can in the far left part of the end zone, and there was like a dummy that was a little bit more to the right, and then he threw a ball at the field goal post. It was funny, man. 3 in a row. He took the ball, threw it, knocked over the trash can. Next ball, threw it.
You're talking about Dungy?
No, DeVito.
Oh, DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He was the 4-star, next guy on campus. Pretty much everyone expects him to take Dungy's spot, be the backup quarterback next year because he redshirted this year. But knocked over the trash can in the first ball. Second ball comes out, hits the dummy. And then the third one comes out, and he hit the horizontal part of the crossbar and knocked it up. And I don't know, it just showed a little bit of accuracy in something that, as a football fan, you like that, you see that, and you kind of get excited, because he came in with a lot of hype. And there's a lot of people that, we had Amba Atatao last year with Dungy. Then he got hurt, and we saw what happened with Ishmael and Irv. Last 2 years we've had 3 record-setting receivers. And Dungy has been a record-setting quarterback as long as he's been healthy. So,
true.
Just to see what's going to come next, it just makes fans, at least like me, excited. So,
I'm excited.
We can probably get it and share it on the Facebook page and.
Oh yeah, definitely.
See what the fans think about. About it.
It's on YouTube. We'll post that up there. All right. Episode 43 in the books. We appreciate you listening. If you could go to facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast and give us the big old thumbs up on there. and like the Facebook page. Any final thoughts, Joe?
No, sir. Hoya suck.
Hoya suck.
Hopefully, yeah.
We got to win this game because.
Well, yeah. I think we do. They have the size though, so
yeah.
We'll just see what happens. Like I said, I don't know what to expect because
it's always a nerve-wracking game, and just because of the circumstances, it's just always one of those ones that you get a little sweaty palm, like my brother Ryan.
Well, yeah, but we've seen what we've done. I mean, Kansas made a little run, had a guy that went off for 36 against us, Devontae Graham, one of the better players in the country. But we played the UConn in Maryland and beat them. And
true, Maryland was a tough one too.
Yeah, I mean they're not like the Maryland of Juan Dixon back in the day, Maryland, ACC Maryland, and UConn obviously isn't the Big East UConn.
That was a good early test though, man. That was
exactly. That's what I mean compared to what Georgetown's done.
Yeah,
that's why
Georgetown
it's hard to.
They haven't done squat.
Well, but it's hard to gauge because
I know
you can say that they haven't done squat, but they're undefeated.
They haven't played squat. So. How's that?
Exactly. That's probably a better way to say it.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
At the end of the day, I think as long as we can, as long as they don't got a guy that goes off on threes, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, well, we will see. It's a 12:30 game on Saturday, right? 12:30.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, well, that's it. Episode 43 in the books. Appreciate it. For Joe, I am Sean. We're out. See you next time.
Peace.
You just heard the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe.